Okay, so this is where we left off. This is video 3 of getting to know ArcGIS Pro. So this is where we ended up. Open up your project and start this video. And what we want to do now is clip this. So see how these buffers go outside of our attendance zone, and you want to clip it. So maybe pause this video, think about how to do that, and go ahead and do it. So I turned off my old buffer and I went ahead and now have the clipped buffer right here. So we now look like this. Looks good. All right, so let's turn our addresses back on because now let's say there's a problem and we want to know, because we're trying to figure out busing, and we're going to say, okay, everyone who lives within 3/4 of a mile, which is how we made our buffers, within of a feeder school has to walk to school. Like they're only the people outside those buffers are going to get bus riding privileges. And so we're going to now figure out, okay, who lives within those buffers and who is outside them. So how would we do that? Well, the first thing we want to do is go to our tool. So we could clip it, right? You know the clip tool right over here, but let's not. Let's do it in a different way. So I can show you some more functionality with Pro. So we have up here, select by attributes, if we want to kind of filter it and find something with certain attributes, or if we want to select by location. So for example, we're going to use location. We want to filter this by location. We want to know which addresses are inside the buffers. Okay, so let's go to select by location. And notice we have our input features is the buffer clip, the relationship we want, which of, let's see, we want to go to here, which of the addresses, which of the SLHS addresses are completely within, which addresses are completely within the clipped buffer. Okay, which of the addresses are completely within the clipped buffer? That's what we're trying to figure out. We're not going to do a search distance or anything. All right, we're good. Yeah, we're going to leave new selection. That's fine. And then let's hit OK and let it do that. And you can see, so what did it do? That's a quick filter in ArcGIS Pro. And we now have all those addresses that are inside that clipped buffer are now lit up. Now, let me show you something. So if you go to the addresses down here and we right click, we could go up and look at the attribute table. So we would see this usually underneath the layer. Here it's in that right click menu. And notice how some of these are highlighted, and not all of them, only some of them, right? The highlighted ones correspond to the highlighted ones that are inside the clip. So now you have them all. Interesting, right? So let's see. One thing we can do up here is, I want to show you is, see this button right there? Switch selection. What that's going to do is flip it. So say I now wanted, suddenly, I would rather know the addresses that are outside of the clipped buffer. If I switch it, it'll just flip it. And so all the ones up here are highlighted that are actually outside that clipped buffer. I'm going to switch it back because I want the ones that are inside. But if I can close this attribute table over here on the left. Usually in ArcGIS Pro it's on the right, but here it's on the left. So close that out. Now what I want to do is I want to take these addresses that have now been filtered for inside there, and I want to right click again, and I want to export that. I want to make that into its own layer. Okay, so I go to Data, Export Features. That's going to make me a feature layer that just has those. All right, so input feature, the addresses, we're going to call it, let's call it, just going to go back to here, feeder buffer underscore addresses. So feeder underscore buffer addresses, I'm going to say okay. And it's going to export and make that its own layer. So now if I come down here, I close out addresses, all I have left is this layer up here, which are those addresses that are within that clipped buffer feature. Another thing you should do is clear your selection. So if you come up here, here's your table, here's your clear button, you just click on that and that clears your selection. So it's this one right there. And once you clear it, it'll turn off. It won't be lit up anymore.